Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So on PC today we'll be getting an upcoming patch. You'll also get one on consoles, but it'll be significantly smaller. I assume next week you'll get the same patch. And this patch will occur on 14 UTC until 16 UTC. Most likely the servers will come online before 4 UTC. Just keep an eye out for that. Now this upcoming patch has some good news and some bad news. Some bad news, we all knew this was going to happen eventually. Overloads are going to be destroyed when they have 0 timers. You can see they currently have 0 time there, and they do indeed give me the stats. You can see my accuracy and crit strike do increase when I equip a Devil's Precision, and it has a 0 time. We switch to the preview server and you can see those overloads still actually work. Okay then, I guess we can enjoy our overloads for a little bit longer, but once they do go and fix this, they will be destroyed. And yes, we're going to have to farm overloads. I would recommend completing your Harvester of Nightmares, your Neverwinter Siege event, get those tokens, and then save those challenge tokens to buy these overloads for endgame players, at least for endgame content. Along with that, we have some upcoming fixes to the Dungeon Master event, where you're going to have Resman's game and Portobello's game. We still don't know exactly what rewards we will be obtaining on that. Will we still keep these? But they have said that various changes are going to come into effect, and wait for their upcoming announcement for the event. They've also said they're going to add some specialty items to the Wondrous Bazaar while the event is going on, potentially rewards that we can't obtain that we could before. And overall, I'm on my bard right here for a very good reason. They went and changed a bunch of things so that they actually work. Lore Master should actually increase your songs and encounter powers by 50% damage. Same goes with your Flourish. And along with that, playing a song in combat should award you a lot more action points. So essentially, while you're spending that time to play whatever random song you want, that time while you're in this performance mode will reward you with action point generation. Now on the healer build, there was some bug with your Aurora Fantasia, where essentially you'd play this in combat and then your tab power would become this heal, where you could essentially heal everybody for 400 magnitude. And the way to abuse this was that essentially it wouldn't remove the tab effect. So you were also stuck with that, so that you could spam your tab power and continue to heal everybody for 400 magnitude. A bit of a dull way to play the bard, but people were abusing it, and this should be fixed. And they don't want it to be like a nerf to the bard, but overall changes such as increasing Juvenating Carol to actually heal for 200 magnitude will make that really good. Making Sheltering Etude actually heal for 600 magnitude when you recast this is going to be a pretty massive buff. And overall, back on the DPS Paragon, you should now be able to have your Ballad of the Hero or your Ballad of the Witch active, while you also have Tailwind Mambo active. And also things like your Duet, when you play that in combat, it shouldn't remove those red areas, those red indicators for boss fights, and that should be the same with Lunge as well. Hopefully they've actually been implemented and will work. Now, very interestingly enough, the Taroka Artifact actually got a pretty massive buff. You can now slot that in here that will bind it, but we can go and cast this, and we no longer have to choose, for example, a tail or a card to put into effect. You'll essentially get every single effect from this artifact, which is lovely, since the Taroka deck will reduce enemies' damage by 15%. It has a bunch of other added effects there, like hitting twice, dealing damage and knockbacking enemies, summoning spheres that will deal damage over time, calling forth a mighty avalanche, and then rooting targets. And you don't need any of those cards there, as you can see, to be able to gain those effects. Like looking on the live server right now, if I were to play this Taroka deck, you can see I have no cards added to the artifact, so I can't get any of those effects, and when you would play it would be randomly have a chance to obtain one of those effects. And that's a pretty massive buff to that artifact. Now, you may have seen my video where I went over the buffing, debuffing mounts, and we have these marvelous reconnaissance balloons, and they should in effect give that actual increase in damage. You can see here the incoming damage to the target should be increased by 7.5%. And if this works, then this is going to be a very good 5th buffing companion to your party. I'm not going to test it right now, but I will a bit later and confirm whether it works or not. Now, those of us running Crown of Keldegonn, the master version right now, they've had a few adjustments. The acolytes, those supports that you'll get spawning on either side of the boss, you get 4 of them during ad phases and cause a damage over time effect, should no longer spawn outside of the arena. So when you're on the island, they could spawn underneath the island. You could get damage over time, and essentially you could get an entire wipe of your map because, yes, the supports, you can't kill them, you take too much damage, and you all end up dying too much after you've exhausted your healers. So that should be fixed. Hopefully that is indeed the case. They've also made it so Palavorthine, the Dracolich, will actually be immune to damage when those acolytes are present. Now, they absolutely couldn't push this out when they had the bug with the acolytes spawning under the island. So fortunately, those two are coming together. And the timing on Palavorthine's landing should now be improved. That's the time when he goes and flops back down onto the arena. You'll have that red area. And Valindra should now respawn more reliably when you wipe the instance. So if you're fighting Valindra and essentially you all die, you should be able to re-enter the fight and she should appear back. They have said in the patch notes that, again, overloads are disappearing, but as we can see here, they don't seem to have been removed just yet, which is wonderful. Please just keep overloads the way they are. I really don't like having to refresh them or give away where we can restore their time with, let's say, some reagent we get from Crown of Keldegonn or Vault of Stars, something that goes along the content that we're already running and we already like running. Also, in your claims valuables tab, if you have gone and got, let's say, the Omen of Despair, the Black Unicorn, you should now properly be able to claim that along with the companion. We should be able to see it down here, the Dragon Hunter. We can indeed claim that. That's wonderful. Now, if you, let's say, have the Hunting Hawk from the Echoes of Prophecy, you should also be able to properly claim that multiple times as well. They've changed up some of the various packs in the Zen market with regards to if they're giving outdated enchantments, they should now be updated and give refining stones or appropriate rank enchantments now instead. And overall, if you did receive, let's say, some artifact modifications in your mail when module 22 went live, well, they're not supposed to have any effect and they should be removed, I believe. Otherwise, the coalescent ward within the Wondrous Bazaar should actually properly show a mythic border. And overall, very gratefully, on the preview server, they have added your enchantments there. So if you want to upgrade your character to max and see how it will be like and how it will perform, well, you can buy all those there. You can get your glyphs of potency here, all just 1 copper. You can do the same with your enchanting stones here as well, and you can buy a bunch of trade bars, all 1 copper there, and you can upgrade everything and have some great fun play testing your character at max everything. You can get all those insignias to mythic as well through the trade bar store. Otherwise, when you go to switch loadouts, let's say on my healer build, I don't have this Forger's box. So let's say we had removed that and we would have, let's say, just some potions here instead. And if I was to go back to my DPS build and I were to use this Forger's box, usually you wouldn't be able to switch loadout anymore. Well, it seems that also hasn't been fixed, like the overloads. We cannot switch back to our healer build because we do not have our Forger's box slotted there. And now it's on cooldown. They have said you should be able to switch between and so on, which it seems we can there. But let's say we try and switch now. We still cannot because it's on cooldown. But we were able to switch it between the slots. I guess that still needs some work right there. And overall, they've done some adjustments with regards to your sound and audio. And that's about it for the patch notes. Again, link in the video description below where you can read through those yourself. Again, overloads don't seem to have been fixed just yet. Switching loadouts while you have, let's say, the Forger's box or your Chain of Scales on cooldown still isn't going to be possible. So again, I'd like to give a massive thank you to all of my channel members for helping me keep my channel going. And if I presented this well, consider leaving the video a like. If you're new around here, consider subscribing. We'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.